What's up? I'm Shia Snow, and this is the Hot Bite. On today's episode, we are going to be diving into the unfiltered, unasked for opinion. And thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me. So this is Matilda, right in this little nest, and then we've got Mr. Humphrey here, and their birthday was just 2 days ago. And they're 7 years old, and they've lived with me in all types of situations. They have lived with me in a garage and mansions, and now we are here in this apartment that we are leaving soon. I'm trying to get out of my lease right now because I just absolutely hate living here. I'm on Wilshire Boulevard in Santa Monica. I'm from the farmland. I'm from the cornfields, the horses, the cows, the tractors, the trailers, the gravel roads, and I absolutely hate living here on a busy street. I don't know what possessed me in my right mind to live here. I absolutely hate it. But basically, today's hot topic, I'm trying to decide which one I want to really dive into because there's a few that are on the tip of my tongue. Every Monday, I release a new episode of the Hot Bite. We just started this podcast a week ago, so thank you so much for joining me. And yeah, every Monday you could just expect to kind of see me here. Today I've got my favorite mug. It's an Abraham Lincoln mug. I love Abraham Lincoln. It's filled with a very creamy coffee, and I don't really like these kinds of coffees. I prefer like a really bitter cappuccino. So yeah, I was thinking about talking about monogamy and polyamory and all of these, like, the monogamish relationships that are really trending right now. And I dread talking about this subject. I have a lot of experience in testing out different forms of relationships. I've even tried dating women. And relationships are a really incredible thing that we get to do in life. We get to have all different types of relationships, and we get to meet all different types of people and have these connections that could really grow us. But they could also really devastate our lives. And so I don't love talking about this topic, but I do have a lot of experience on the topic, and I guess I owe it to the world to kind of give my take on it, since I do have actual real life experience in all of these different kinds of relationships. So I have had a very low standard when it comes to dating people in my life, meaning I am from a small town. There weren't many options. And so when I found someone who seemed all okay or interested in me, I basically just kind of went for it very naively. And that very unintelligent way of navigating relationships in my 20s really devastated a lot of different things about my life. It caused me to be in physically abusive relationships, emotionally abusive relationships, like lots of cheating, stuff like that, and even financially abusive relationships. So I have had a very bad dating record. And finally, after enough had happened to me, I kind of sat myself down and this was after. So kind of after being in the physically abusive relationship, the emotionally abusive relationship, the spiritually abusive relationship that I was in, where like I literally thought I was doomed and going to hell because I wasn't Catholic enough. And then the financially abusive one was the hard hitter. After that I was pretty broken, and then I was really open to kind of trying out new kinds of relationships to see like, well, maybe there's a different way of dating that could work for me. So that's what led me to trying out a polyamorous relationship. It led me to kind of exploring the kind of like swinger world, monogamish world. And, it led me to trying out all of those things. It led me to figuring out really what was going to really work for me, because everyone's relationship is unique. So everyone's going to have something that works differently for their relationship, and everyone needs and yearns for something different, whether it's sexually or, you know, emotionally, like we're all kind of looking for something very, very intrinsically, unique. And so after kind of that year of exploration and like starting to rebuild my life after, having men basically like ruin my life, right? Over and over and over again. I tried the polyamory, I tried the monogamish, I tried all out these like parties and, figuring out what I really wanted. Or I realized it was time for me to sit down and figure out what I really wanted, because I was very unhappy. I became pretty promiscuous, and what that kind of looked like was really just having, really just like not having deep relationships, and having them be, very surface level. And then I met someone and we went on a few coffee dates, and then I realized how guarded I had become, and it made me really sad. To realize how guarded I had become after everything. I couldn't look him in the eyes, and I was terrified, right, of getting hurt again, because all I had ever known is trusting someone and them letting me down. But really not just letting me down, actually abusing me in some way, shape, or form, and devastating my life when I just had really pure intentions for them. So the eye contact is where I realized how broken I was. And, I was really unhappy having that roster of like men, hot men, right? Like it sounded like a dream. Like I have, 10 men on my roster, and they're all taking me out on different dates and stuff. But like the thing is when you're not truly investing in someone and trusting someone, you're not being fully present with them, you're not letting down your guard, you're really not getting all the benefits that a relationship can have on your spiritual growth, on your emotional growth, on your whole entire life. Relationships, the right relationship can provide a lot of stability for you. Being in the wrong relationship can be the stakes are high. And so I decided I needed to stop sharing my energy and body with people who didn't deserve it, right? And so coffee date guy, right? And me realizing how guarded I had become, how broken I actually was, and how terrified I was to like let down that guard. I wanted it to be monogamish. I did not want a traditional relationship because I didn't believe in traditional relationships, because I had been hurt too many times before to think that that was possible. Like, why would anyone want to be monogamous with me? It took me time to be honest with myself, though, about what I needed. I think a lot of times, because of our pain and trauma and disappointments of the past, we lie to ourselves about what we need. And we try to create all these complicated alternative ways to make relationships work, because we're petrified of being disappointed again. And I really think it is that simple, honestly. Now, this isn't to be judgmental about anyone else's scenario, because I have a lot of friends who are in non-traditional relationships, and from at least the outside, it seems like everything is perfectly fine. I think at the end of the day, you just have to ask yourself, does this feel good or does this feel bad? That's all you need to know. There's no reason to reason it out. There's no question of, well, where is this coming from? Where is this feeling of insecurity coming from? Where is this fear coming from? Where is, because that's really popular in the lifestyle for people to ask people who have monogamish relationships to ask. It's like, well, why do you feel that way? Why do you feel jealous? Or why do you feel bad? Or like, why did it make you sad? Like, where is that coming from? Because that says something about you. Like, no, it just feels bad. I love that person. And it hurts me. I don't need any further reasoning than that. I genuinely am showing up in this relationship, and therefore my feelings have, validity to them, and I don't really need a reason why. I don't need to reason it out, and I'm not going to reason with my feelings. My feelings are my feelings, and I cannot change them. All I can do is be honest with them and make decisions that align to them and what's healthiest for them. I think there's already so much stress in life already. Like, there's no reason to be in a relationship that causes you more stress. I don't know. I think we complicate relationships too much just because we're so terrified of being vulnerable and hurt. Love is so scary, I know, but it is so wonderful and beautiful, and it does exist. It totally exists. And you just gotta, if someone's not for you, if they're not making you happy, just leave. And then, if someone doesn't pick you, that's okay. It's not that big of a deal. It's nothing personal. Let me know if you guys have any ideas for next week's episode. I'll see you next Monday. That's the Hub Bite. Bye.